All right, 8.5 to 8.8 quiz review. All right, so the concepts we're reviewing today, together you're going to see on your quiz on Monday. First type of question is that I want you to identify the slope and y-intercept of this equation. Okay, identify the slope and y-intercept of this equation. What do we have to do first? Can I just look at it and say, oh, well, 2 is connected to x, so that's my slope? No, what do I have to do first? Function form. There we go. All right, are y'all done with function form?
No.
Let's go.
Yes.
So what do we do first?
Subtract 2x from both sides.
Yep, subtract 2x from both sides. Rewrite the equation. What do we do next?
Divide by 4. -4.
Divide everything by -4 all the way across. All right, now that I have the equation in function form, what variable do I use for slope? M equals what? 1/2. What variable do I use for y-intercept? Nope, it's positive because I divided 2 negatives over here. All right, what variable do I use for y-intercept? B equals what? -3. All right, who got it right? 1/2 and -3. Okay, so first question on your quiz, guys. All right, now I want to write an equation of the line with a given slope and y-intercept. So now I want you to write this equation. Okay, so you know that slope-intercept form is y equals mx, say it with me, plus b. So if you know slope, plug it in for m. If you know y-intercept, plug it in for b. All right, so what is it going to give you? Y equals 4x plus 10. Do you guys remember now? Okay, so plug in slope and y-intercept for those values in function form, and that's your equation. Now I want you to write an equation of the line through these given points. So now I don't tell you what the slope and y-intercept is directly. You have to figure it out and then write it in the equation in function form. Okay, so I have to have slope, but it doesn't tell me slope. How can I find slope? How can I find slope, guys?
Y2 minus y1.
Yes, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. What's my y2 value?
8.
What's my y1 value? What's my x2?
2.
What's my x1?
0.
What's my slope?
3 over 2.
But I know my slope now, but I don't know my y-intercept. How can I figure out my y-intercept?
0, 1. You got 5.
So what is my y-intercept, guys?
Y equals 3 over 2x plus 5.
Okay, so the ordered pair tells me what my y-intercept is going to be. Y equals 3 over 2x plus 5. All right, any questions on that one? Who got that one right before I said it? Okay, majority at least, Josiah. Okay, let's do the next one. Write an equation of a line that is parallel and passes through this point. Okay, write an equation of the line that is parallel. So remember, on a graph, if I have parallel lines, I have to have 2 lines. This is the first line. That's the equation for my first line. I need to write the equation for my second line that's parallel and passes through point 0, -5. What do I know about the slopes of parallel lines?
They have the same
What do I know?
slope.
Are they the same, different, opposite? What are they?
Different.
They're the same. They're the same exact. And think about it. The slope is the angle of the line. So if they're truly parallel, they have to have the exact same slope. Okay? So the equation for my parallel line has the exact same slope. The only difference is that it has a different y-intercept. Instead of it intercepting at a y value of 9, the second one intercepts at a y value of -5. Y equals -8x minus 5. That's my parallel equation. You remember now, Andrew? Remember now? Sort of coming back. Jared, coming back? All right, so now, what do you think is going to be the next one? Write an equation of a line that's perpendicular and passes through point 0,4. Okay, so go ahead and write your perpendicular equation. Again, this is two lines on the same graph. I'm given the equation for my first line. I'm trying to come up with my equation for my second line. What do I know about the slope of a perpendicular equation? It's the opposite, but it's also the opposite sign, right? It's the reciprocal and the opposite sign. I call it the negative reciprocal. So y equals, what's the negative reciprocal of 2/3? Positive 3/2, because what happens if I plug in a negative and there's already a negative? It's a double negative. It's a positive. 3/2x, what's my y-intercept? Plus 4. 3/2x plus 4. Who got that one right? 3/2x plus 4. Good. Okay, so you guys kind of remembered then after we did parallel. All right, so that's parallel and perpendicular. Now we're going to get into function notation. Whoop, let's back that up. Let g of x equal 4x minus 5 and find the indicated value. So find g of x when x equals 3 and find x when g of x equals 35. Make your substitutions and solve. My substitutions, g of x when x equals 3. Okay, so I plug in 3 for x. G of x is 7. Now, when g of x equals 35, I have to plug that in for g of x. 35 equals 4x minus 5. Add 5 to both sides, divide, and x equals 10. All right, so make sure, guys, on your quiz Monday, if you forget to say the g of x part, you're not going to get full credit. Okay, so just make sure you do label these correctly so we're writing them in function notation. All right, that's not the question. I'm getting back to it. Okay, write a linear function that satisfies these conditions. Write a linear function that satisfies these conditions. That's all the instructions are going to tell you. Okay, to write a function, I have to have a slope and I have to have a y-intercept. How am I going to go about finding a slope? I need ordered pairs. Can I pull the information out to make ordered pairs? There's your hint. So I pull out my ordered pairs, 0, 3, 4, 9. So now, what is going to be in my fraction to find slope? I'm going to say 9 minus 3 over 4 minus 0. 6 over 4 reduces. But I don't have my y-intercept. How can I figure that out? The ordered pair with the 0. So my y-intercept is 3. That's everything I need to know, except I must write it as a function. So what is it? Is it g of x? How do I know which letter to use? The letters that are in the original. F of x equals 3/2x plus 3. All right, any questions? Writing a linear function that satisfies the given conditions. This is how you do it. All right, now let's see what's next. Write a linear function, equation of a line, intercept, write a linear function. Okay, so now we are going to perpendicular. Tell whether the ordered pair is a solution to the equation. Okay, so here's your two equations. Y equals 2x minus 4 and y equals negative 3x plus 1. And you're testing the ordered pair 1, negative 2. Is that ordered pair a solution to this linear system? All right, so let's plug them in. I plug in my y value where y goes and my x value where x goes. Negative 2, yeah, equals negative 2, so that one checks out. But it doesn't matter if only one checks out. Both of them have to check out. So this does not mean anything yet. Okay, so now negative 2 equals negative 3 times 1 plus 1. So negative 2, yes, does equal negative 2, so that part checks out. So there's my work. My answer is a simple yes. But a yes or no answer on your quiz does you no good. You have to have the work to back it up. All right, so that's how we tell whether it's a solution. How would we graph this function? You're just going to kind of walk through it with me. I'm not going to make you actually graph. Y equals negative 3x plus 4. How would I graph this function? Without a table, without my intercepts, I'm not doing anything except just using the information in the equation. Jonadab, where's my first point go? At the 4. So I plot my first point at my y-intercept of 4. How do I know where my next point goes? Someone raise your hand and tell me. How do I find my next point? Aliana? Okay, so I'm visual like you too. I like to see this fraction here because that tells me rise and run. So if my rise is negative, do I go up from my y-intercept point or do I go down? Now, here's a common mistake. I have people starting here and going down instead of starting at my y-intercept. So I go down 3 from my y-intercept, 1, 2, 3, and over 1, and I plot my point and draw my line. That's how I graph a function. Okay? Any questions? Now I need to graph a linear system. So your linear system on Monday, it may or may not be in function form. So here's my linear system. Y equals negative 4x plus 1. And y equals 5. Here, I don't want to do that one. Sorry. I want it to have a solution. X plus y equals 3. And x minus y equals negative 5. Are these in function form? Are these in function form, guys?
No.
How would I write the first one in function form? What do I do? Subtract x. Yeah, so, well, you don't have to because y is by itself. Negative x plus 3. And this one I'm going to have to divide everything by, let's see, if I subtract x, all right, I get negative y equals negative x, but then I have to divide everything by negative 1 too because y is negative. Y equals positive x plus 5. Okay, so here I have my two equations in function form. All right, I did take a shortcut, but I'm just basically writing these in function form. All right, so now plot your points, guys. On your first equation, where does your first point go? At a y value of 3. Where does your second point go? Where do I go from that point? Do I go up? Do I go down? By how many?
Down 1.
I go down 1 because it's just negative x. So that means negative 1 over 1. I've got to know those understood values. So I go down 1 over 1, I plot my point, and draw my line. And remember, you want these lines nice and straight. Okay? Now I plot my second point at a y-intercept of 5. And then I go up 1 over 1. here. And now I draw my line. So where do the lines intersect? Where do the lines intersect? What ordered pair do they intersect at? Negative 1, 4. And that's my answer. Okay, you have one of these on your quiz on Monday. You look at where it intersects, where the lines intersect, and that's at negative 1, 4. All right, if you understand that, this is everything you need to know for your quiz over 8.5 through 8.8.